The next stop on the tour was the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus. This 120-acre site will soon be home to the University of Buffalo's $375 million medical school and Kaleida Health's $250 million children's hospital. But the building behind me, the $291 million Gates Vascular Institute, is already changing the face of medicine. I'm here with Chief Operating Officer of the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus, Pat Whalen. Now, Pat, the way this building, the Gates Vascular Institute, is designed is to foster interaction and cooperation between doctors and other hospital staff. How has that changed the medical industry in the Buffalo area?
Well, it's changed the medical industry worldwide, really. The idea is the brainchild of Dr. Nick Hopkins, who works here in the building, longtime Buffalo neurosurgeon, and he had a vision to bring different practices together. So neurosurgery, cardio, radiologists, and vascular surgeons together in the same physical space so they can interact with each other and therefore trade ideas.
Now, this has actually come into practice once with one particular patient who was able to save many surgical procedures by just two doctors interacting. Am I right?
Correct. So traditionally what happened in the old Gates Hospital, as an example, these doctors, these areas were in different floors. So the doctors very rarely interacted, maybe at a staff meeting or something like that, but in practice they didn't interact with each other. First week in this building when it was open, there was a neural surgery taking place, and the surgeon couldn't get to the brain through the vascular system because of a blockage somewhere else. So rather than closing the patient back up, sending him home, and rescheduling, the doctor went next door to a vascular surgeon and said, "Can you come over here and get this blockage out of the way so I can finish my job?" The vascular surgeon came over, removed the blockage, the neurosurgeon finished his job, the patient went home with one visit.
Now, one of the advantages of having everything under one roof is that if a doctor has an idea, he can turn that idea into reality, right?
That gets into the space we're in here called the Jacobs Institute. Everything below us is actually Gates Hospital. Everything above us is UB's Clinical Translational Research Center. Most of the doctors that teach at UB practice at Kaleida or vice versa. So as a surgeon is performing his duties downstairs in the hospital and he has an idea to do something differently, he can actually go upstairs to his lab and model the device he has in mind on a CAD program. If that works out, and it looks like it's going to work, at least in the electronic version of it, he can actually come down to this floor and where there's a fab shop and actually fabricate his idea. So they can actually move the process along here much quicker because they're in the same building.
And then you can even link him with a private investor who might take that idea to the market.
Right. So the idea, then if the idea looks like it's going to work, he can actually do a first-in-human trial. And the Jacobs Institute, there's people here that can expedite that process, work with the FDA and get the first-in-trial test approved. And if that works, we can actually have a product that goes to market and do human trials. Now, most doctors, not all, but most doctors don't want to start a company. So how do they take their medical device and commercialize it? At the Jacobs Institute, there are people here that can help with that process, either find investors or find, if the doctor wants to start his own company, or perhaps find a successful entrepreneur that's been successful in another medical device thing and had an exit and now is looking to do it again. Find that guy, match the two of them up, and commercialize the product. So we actually want to start companies in this building. There's a UB incubator on this floor, so the doctor could actually start a company, incubate it here, and then hopefully grow the business.
So part of the goal of having all these organizations and facilities in one central spot is to spur this economic growth on the private sector side, correct?
Exactly. So that's a big part of what the Jacobs Institute is about. That's a big part of what my job every day is about here on the campus, is fostering the growth of private sector companies. So the other building we have on the other end of the campus, called the Innovation Center, is a place for private sector companies as they grow in the incubator here, and they outgrow that incubator space, which is quite small, so it doesn't take long to outgrow that. But down the street we have the Innovation Center, which actually has a lot more space and a lot more services available to help grow these early stage companies.
Now, with the medical school and the new children's hospital coming, there's going to be a lot of growth in this campus. How important is it to have the Metro Rail right at your doorstep?
Well, access is another big part of my job. How do people get to the medical campus? We have plenty of parking for patients and their visitors, family, things like that. But having the employees get here every day is a bit more of a challenge. And to that extent, having the subway station on the campus is a huge, huge opportunity for us. So I think we're going to see that the Metro line really starts to fulfill the promise that it had 30 years ago when it was first envisioned.
And you think this medical campus can be a driving force behind creating a new economy for the Buffalo region?
Yeah, I think we'll see, and we're already seeing, a lot of private sector development and housing along the subway line. So we already see it happening. Obviously, I think that's going to drive residents back to the city. People are going to want to live in the city, want to live, work, and play in the city, and a lot of them will work here on the medical campus.